Hello everyone, I'm Paul McGuire Grimes. Tom Holland leaves his Spider-Man suit behind in his new film, Cherry. It will be streaming on Apple TV Plus on March 12th, and I want to talk about it. This is Paul's trip to the movies. Tom Holland goes from geeky teen to tormented vet as Cherry. Cherry's life choices take him from one tragic move to the next. His college days are filled with panic attacks, turbulent relationships, and no money. He decides to join the army as a medic after eloping with his girlfriend Emily, played by Ciara. His days in the army severely damaged Cherry, leaving him with horrible PTSD, followed by drug addiction and a string of bank robberies in an attempt to fuel his addiction and money problems. Cherry also stars Jack Rayner and Michael Gandolfini. Tom Holland reteams with his Avengers directors Anthony and Joe Russo for Cherry. And this film very much feels like a specific departure for all three of them to prove they can bring more to the table than just Marvel stories. It's based on the book by Nico Walker, with Jessica Goldberg and Angela Russo-Atzad penning the adaptation. Now, I haven't read the book, but the film is structured into 5 parts: a prologue and an epilogue. And yes, it's as long as it sounds, clocking in at 2 hours and 20 minutes. I generally appreciated the time that it takes in telling Cherry's story, giving it really this in-depth approach to the various chapters in his life. That all kind of comes to a crashing halt when we get to chapter 5, which is titled Dope Life. This is when we find Cherry deep into addiction and robbing banks. It almost feels like the writers or the Russo brothers thought that this would be the most interesting chapter, given it's the whole final third act of the film. Yet I found it oddly out of place. It feels hokey compared to Cherry's days in college or even his time serving in the military. Drug addiction shouldn't just equate to edgy material, but this is where we feel everyone really trying the hardest to prove themselves. The scenes are rightfully hard to watch, as heroin does brutal damage to the mind and body. But frankly, there's nothing new to be had here, as there are countless movies about addiction or even bank heists. Now, I won't spoil the epilogue, but for me, that's the story that should have been told. We don't see that story enough, and yet it's told here as a montage. The Russo brothers supply Cherry with added visual style, using a plethora of artistic devices like voiceover narration, breaking the fourth wall and addressing the audience, slow-mo, freeze frames, color saturation, black and white, and aspect ratios. There's too much of that going on, and it really hinders the storytelling. Even the names of the banks are given generic, yet profane titles, like Shitty Bank. And I go back to why. Is that a commentary on capitalism, or just to make it edgy? The pairing of Tom Holland and Ciara provide the film with that kind of fall from innocence feel, and Holland does a really admirable job of leaving Peter Parker behind. I was really invested in him as an actor here, watching him navigate the complexities of Cherry. He felt honest and in the moment when the story didn't always provide that. I'm giving Cherry 2.5 out of 5 ticket stubs. If you like my review today, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. I got to sit down with Tom Holland to talk about this film, so you definitely want to check out that interview. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Paul's Movie Trip, and then go to my website, paulstriptothemovies.com, for even more reviews. Thanks so much for watching my review of Cherry. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies.